Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another rapid fire review session for you. Pew, pew. Sorry, I don't know why I always do that. Today, we have 4 knives. We have the Kansept Gremlin, the Will Nutcracker, the Real Steel Akuma, and the Revo Warden. Steel Will and Real Steel in one rapid fire review session. The odds that I screw that up are high. I'm just warning you. But let's get going with these. First up, the Kansept Gremlin. I really do like this thing a whole lot. It might be my favorite concept they have come out with. You're looking at S35 VN steel, titanium with these carbon fiber inlays. It does come in several different colorways. $169 for the first ones I'm going to list. It's this version, this same carbon with a natural titanium, and also a green, kind of a green marbled carbon with the natural titanium, a green micarta with the natural titanium, or another one, if you want to spend a lot more, $399, you get a Damasteel blade, not Damascus, Damasteel blade with a natural tie and a red carbo quartz, which is really pretty. I do have to say, I'm almost kind of tempted by that. I have a pretty good relationship with Kansept, and I'm almost tempted to ask, please, but because I do really like this knife a lot. Stats-wise, let's move some of these other ones out of the way here. In these rapid fire ones, I don't do size comparisons as much. I just give the usual stats. So you have, it's a pretty small knife. You have an overall length of 6.85 inches, blade length of 2.9 inches, blade thickness of 0.11 inches, handle thickness of 0.45 inches, and a weight of 2.55 ounces, so not too bad at all. I have to say the blade on this is pretty good. S35 VN, no complaints there. It's honestly probably my favorite kind of EDC steel, because it's just easy to sharpen, and if you're going to use it a lot, that's important. You know, there are some steels that have better edge retention, but they're a lot harder to sharpen. I think S35 is still just really, maybe S45 now, is just really in that sweet spot, and I like that a lot. Very thin blade stock. It's not super thin behind the edge, 20 thousandths, but it came screaming sharp, not too bad at all. It does have a pretty decent sharpening choil on it, but as you can see, it gives a bit of a recurve back there, which that's probably my really only annoyance with the knife. Well, maybe one other tiny little thing. Ergonomics are excellent. It does fit in the hand very well. You can feel that pocket clip a little bit. This very nice titanium milled pocket clip, by the way. But it's not too bad at all. Yeah, I think for the size knife that it is, it's excellent. In a knife this size, there's very few that are really superb. There's a couple of Spydercos, but they're a lot, you know, taller, not slender little knives like these. This is a very kind of gentlemanly looking sort of knife. It does carry very well. You can feel that flipper tab just a little bit, but not too bad at all. I wouldn't call it like a pocket pecker extreme or anything like that. As far as the deployment goes, very snappy. Very good. My other only tiny little nitpick, and I'm not taking this knife apart at all. I think if I did take it apart, I could probably make it close to drop shutty, but it's physics. It's a pretty thin, short blade. It's going to take a lot to get it that way, but the D10 is perfect. If I had one complaint, my other little nitpick with this knife, and it's a very small one, would not mind seeing just a little bit of jimping up there. I did have my finger slip off there a little bit, as you can see. If you're not really committed to it, it's not that the D10's bad, it's just that your finger slips on that flipper tab a little bit. But yeah, fires right out. You can push button it. It's a little pointy if you push button it, but not too bad. If you're worried about your finger slipping off, that's probably the best way to do it. But really quite a fan of this thing, I do have to say. Like I said, it might be my favorite concept they've come out with yet. That little bit of recurve, I wish it didn't have that. I wish it had a little bit more jimping. Other than that, you know, really nothing to complain about this thing. And it looks great. I'm kind of glad they sent me the full black. This is probably not the version I would have chosen, but I really like the way it looks. All right, let's move on to the next one. We'll bring out the Will Nutcracker. This is brand new from them. It's N690 steel, which is kind of cool. You don't see that very much. We have another knife here with some pretty unique steel as well. N690 it's a really good steel. I'm happy with it. Both of these next 2 knives you're going to see, all 3 of these actually, the next 3. The thing I'm happy about is they're not D2. These are all 3 pretty fairly in that price range and made in China that you usually see D2, and I'm so glad to see companies branching out. There's nothing wrong with D2. I'm not a D2 hater, but man, I'm tired of it. N690, perfectly fine with me. No issues there. It's a pretty good steel. The price on this is currently only available directly from Steel Will on their website. It hasn't hit many retailers yet. They have it listed for $129. It's not going to be that. It's probably going to be more like in the, if I had to guess by their usual price reduction, you know, between MAP and what the MSRP they put it up for, if I had to guess, 105, 110, somewhere in there, a little over $100. You're getting ceramic ball bearings. It does come in different colorways. This is the black wash blade, which I really do like. Steel Will's black wash is very, very nice. Green G10. It also comes with this black wash blade and a gray G10, which is probably what I would have ordered. This was just provided by manufacturer, so I didn't really get to choose. And then there is a satin with a black G10. So yeah, again, nice titanium mill pocket clip. You know, no complaints there. Ergos on it are the thing that stick out. It's very, very, very comfortable, and jimping's in all the right places. You're locked in, but it's still extremely comfortable. Very, very comfortable knife to use. It does, yeah, ceramic bearings. Action is outstanding. Just like the previous knife, I have done nothing to this. This is pretty much out of the box. Played with it a little bit, flipped it a few times, and, you know, cut some stuff, but have not taken it apart. And yeah, I do like it a lot. You are looking stats wise. Let's do that first before we talk about some more things. You have an overall length of 8 inches, blade length of 3.4 inches, blade thickness of 0.16 inches, pretty thick. Handle thickness also pretty thick, 0.58 inches, and a weight. The weight's not too bad, 4.6 ounces, which I can't complain there. Back to this blade. Yeah, I like the N690. I think that's a good choice. Anything but D2 at this point. I'm just tired of it. And I'm sorry if you love D2. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, I'm just tired of it as a reviewer. Oh my God. Reviewed so many D2 knives in the last couple of years. But it is very, very thin behind the edge. 18 thousandths behind the edge, not bad at all. So it does slice way better than I expected it to. They call it a cleaver, but I think this is more of a sheep's foot, which I'm happy for. I'm kind of, I don't know, has that cleaver moment passed? I feel like the moment of cleavers has kind of passed, but maybe I'm wrong because I still keep seeing new ones come out. Maybe I'm just over them. But this is more of a sheep's footy, cleaver-y sort of blade shape. It's not my favorite in the world, but it does have a really good tip on it, I have to say that. They did a very good job with it. It's just not one of my favorites. But yeah, you still get a good amount of piercing there. Again, excellent ergos. Excellent action. D10 is superb. There's one little flaw. It's kind of got that sort of thing that people complain about with hinderers. Your finger, more like your fingernail, it might catch these little jimping bits there. So they keep that in mind. But other than that, it's not the end of the planet. Yeah, overall, pretty good. I'm interested to see what the actual price is. You know, 100 for 110. If I could put a downside to this, and 690 is a steel it's still technically a budget steel. I think it's a really damn good one. But $110 does have ceramic bearings, but other than that, the configuration is fairly similar to Steel Will's much less expensive knives that are D2. So N690, is it better than D2 or is it just different than D2? That's something you gotta have to, you know, buy your own personal taste. I think it's better than D2. I don't think the price is insane. It does have the titanium milled pocket clip also instead of just the usual loop over clips. But is that something that is going to make you want to spend that maybe twice as much as some of their lower end knives? I don't know. I think it's a very nice knife. I'm not sure about the price, but the market shall decide that, as they say. It is right hand only carry, by the way, as was the Gremlin that you saw earlier. Next up, the Real Steel Akuma. Did not ask for this one. Real Steel sent me a couple of knives, this and the Real Slim that you saw earlier. And you know what? I have to say, pretty impressed by both of them. The Real Slim, not attractive, but very, very compelling knife. Very interesting, unique knife. This as well could say the same thing. Very unique knife for sure. It's just a really cool design. You can open it a million different ways. Not always a fan of orange, but I do like the little pop of orange in this. You can see it's like a double layer G10. It also comes in a green. I'll have the satin blade. And this is another interesting steel, K110. Kind of cool. Don't see that stuff very often. Don't know a whole lot about it, but I've been using this and it seems seems pretty darn good, honestly. So yeah, just kind of interesting thing. You see the K110 marking there, the designer marking, right hand only again. But yeah, I do really like this knife. I think the looks of it are pretty good. I think that if there's one downside to it, it would be the looks. But the fidget factor on this is just insane. Let's do some stats before we get into all that, before I gush too much about that. So you have blade length, pretty large, about 3.7 inches. Overall length, 8.5 inches. Blade thickness, a little thick, but not crazy, 0.14 inches. Handle thickness, 0.52 inches, and a weight of 4.7 ounces. The blade on it, 16 thousandths behind the edge. It's screaming thin behind the edge. So yeah, this slices a lot better than you would think a 0.14 inch blade stock knife would. It's an excellent, excellent slicer for sure. Really do like it a whole lot in that regard. Yeah, it's a really, really fun knife to play with. I keep wanting to skip to that, but we're going to go in order. Ergos are great. I have zero complaints there. Can't feel the pocket clip. This G10 is grippy, a bit grippy going in out of the pocket. Perhaps just a bit too much, but by like 5%, not by like, it's not like a pocket destroyer like, you know, some cold steels can be and stuff like that. Don't stress out about that, but a little bit extreme, but not too bad at all. Yeah, now let's get to what I want to talk about. Which way do you want to open this thing? Take your pick. Do you want to spidey flick it? Yep, you can do that. Do you want to thumb flick it with that same hole? Yep. Do you want to thumb flick it using the reversible thumb stud? Yep, you can do that. Do you want to front flip it? Yep, you can do that. It's so much fun to play with, and all of them work great. Again, have not taken this apart. All centered up, all that stuff. It's not like it's loose or anything. Oh, it's so much fun to play with. This is just for $77, which I don't think I mentioned yet. It is available on one retailer now, so I do know what it's actually going to cost. It's not available many places yet, but yeah, 77 bucks. K110 steel, which is kind of cool. It's unique. You have really nice G10, and just the fidget factor is just nutso. It's so much fun. I really thoroughly am enjoying this knife. It's a really cool knife for 77 bucks. Yeah, fidget factors galore. Next up, this one was also a surprise. This is a Revo, which is the budget arm of Blade Runner Systems. They sent me some stuff to give away to you guys. This was one of the things, so this will be on a giveaway at some point. This is the new Warden. Did not know what I was getting, and this is pretty cool. 9CR18 MOV steel. So again, not D2, a Chinese-made knife that is not D2, a budget knife, definitely budget knife, 36 bucks. Comes in 3 different versions of G10, black or this black, like this one is, green or like a blue. So choose use as you will, and the G10 thumb studs match the green, or match the G10. I think if you get green, it would be green, but it matches the G10, which is cool. Yeah, I like the overall look of it a whole lot. I think it's just a very sleek looking knife. It is right hand only, it is right hand, left hand. That was one thing I specifically wanted to mention. Yeah, it is right hand, left hand, which is very nice, ambidextrous for 36 bucks, and 9CR. 9CR18 MOV, really good steel. I really like it a lot, so I'm glad to see it coming out in more than just Civivis. Unique thing about it, it is assisted, which you don't see that much anymore. Honestly, there's not that much assisted. We're going to talk more about how I just missed that thumb stud here in just a moment, but yeah, there's that. If you don't like assisted, you don't like assisted. That is one bias I have in knives that I'm really trying to let go of, but I just quite haven't yet. Let's do some specs. You have an overall length of 7.5 inches, blade length of 3.1 inches, blade thickness of 0.12 inches, handle thickness 0.5 inches, and a weight pretty darn good, just 3.2 ounces. Can't really complain much there. The blade on this, like I said, 9CR, yay. Not D2. Very happy about that. I just kind of expected this to be D2 when I opened the box, and it isn't. Not very thin behind the edge, though. I do have to say, one of 2 complaints I have, it's 25 thousandths behind the edge. it's a pretty thin blade stock. It still slices pretty well. Very sharp edge out of the box. But yeah, I think they definitely could have tapered this down a bit more, because you can see, even to get that 25 thousandths, you know, that final bevel is pretty high just to even get to 25 thousandths. So yeah, that wish they had tapered this much more aggressively, but they did not. Really nice pocket clip on it, a bit large, but it still carries really well. No flipper tab, so it's still very slim, light enough. Ergos are excellent. No complaints there, except for a little bit of a hot spot. No, ergos are good. I'm sorry, got ahead of myself. Ergos are good. A little bit of a hot spot from the pocket clip, but it depends on how you hold it. If you choke back like this, it's fine. If you kind of move up a little bit, you can definitely feel it. But if you hold it back, probably how they actually intended, it's fine. So ergos are good. Not quite excellent, as I misspoke when I started this, but and it is assisted, but it's still pretty easy to close. One issue I have with it, other than the thickness behind the edge, the other real complaint I would have is these little fancy G10 thumb studs. I don't mind the G10 thumb studs, they're fine, but see how they're angled in? I think they're angled in a bit much, because it is pretty easy to miss them. They have a nice little guide here, and it is guiding you to directly the right spot, but I just wish that this angle wasn't quite as acute, and then it'd be a lot easier to catch, because I do miss it sometimes, you know, trying to deploy it. But yeah, if you like assists, $36 for 9CR, not too bad. You can't complain about that. And it does come in a really nice box with a bunch of really cool stuff. Revo and Blade Runner systems always do that stuff up really well. So there we have it. That is the rapid fire reviews for this late-ish November of 2020. I even got these all back in the right order, I think. Yay me. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know you guys like these formats a lot. And yeah, these are rapid fire. I do them kind of quick, so I do try and keep track of the comments on these. So if you have questions, a specific question down below, I will try and answer that, at least for the next few days. And then I probably won't pay attention to this older video anymore. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.